Welcome back to Cyber Prophets. This time we are having someone that defines himself as a datapreneur. I will say a new concept that is the first time that I have heard. His name is Cristian Lefter. He is an expert in everything related to databases, SQL, and other areas that sometimes are a little bit, let's say, difficult for many people, especially in these times. I have faced a lot of challenges and with many people running away of everything related to databases. But he's one of those persons who is involved in that area. But besides that, he's an expert in making jokes. I'm not sure if we will see a couple of them during the interview, but what I can say, Cristian is one of those guys who can build all those things even in an unexpected way. He lives in Romania, in Bucharest to be precise, and nowadays he's focusing on important topics like artificial intelligence. He will tell us a little bit more about this area and helping us discover how and why we should care more about it.
Thank you, Federico. You mentioned Datapreneur. For those that are not familiar with the term, is actually an entrepreneur that works with data, and that's what I am. I work with data. I would say that everyone is working with data because we are living in the information age. So we are all working with data. About artificial intelligence. When we talk about artificial intelligence, some of us think about Terminator. Well, it's not Terminator, it's your phone. If you have a smartphone, you have artificial intelligence. You don't have a smartphone. Well, you use Google, don't you? Mm-hmm. When you use Google, you use artificial intelligence. When you use Spotify, when you look at movies on Netflix, you use artificial intelligence. It is everywhere. It started to determine what you watch. If you have Facebook, everything that you will see, it's determined by an algorithm. And the purpose of the algorithm is to stay there, to keep you there, which is not exactly ethical, I would say, for the Facebook or other social medias. But the point is AI is here, and it doesn't look like a robot. And what is AI? It's software that is behaving like us. So software that can understand us, that can speak to us, that can see what we see, that's AI. It's not necessarily Arnold Schwarzenegger chasing someone.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Cristian. I am very glad that you accepted the challenge to be part of our show and speak to our audience. You are totally right. AI is here, and it's not as we expected, as a Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of stuff. It's more subtle. It's in everything you use, in everywhere. So I would like to know more about your experience in AI, Cristian. Could you please elaborate on your experience?
What happened that accelerated the AI adoption and also the impact in my life? There are certain things that converged recently. What happened? We have the cloud. We have the internet. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of investment in the AI area. All of this combined have brought AI in everyone's life. Why? Because think of a human. How do you train a child? You give him books to read. Well, how do you train a machine? A machine has the biggest library in the world now, called the internet. Just think of it. how large it is. And speaking of resources, now that we have the cloud, we have a lot of hardware that we can use. And also all the companies are investing in artificial intelligence. Why? Because artificial intelligence is related to what we call advanced analytics. We want to know what will happen with our company. And more than that, we want to use predictive analytics. How can we make certain things happen? Being a datapreneur, of course, I have to offer companies that work with me methods to find out what will happen and how can they make it happen. So that's why I'm naturally interested in AI.
And for example, I know that you might not be able to tell us in detail about the projects that you have with your clients, but maybe some ideas about those advanced analytics or this kind of projects that you have been involved. Maybe you can give us some hints.
Yes, not so many years ago, one of the focus areas for me was business intelligence. What is business intelligence? Let's take informed decisions. I have data in my company and I want to use them to make decisions. Now we move to predictive analytics. Not only that I want to know what happened and why it happened, but I want to take a look into the future. And this is what AI will do, is trying to predict what will happen. So how much I will sell, who should I address my selling campaign, and things like that. That's the point of AI inside companies. And all the companies that want to remain relevant on the market, they should definitely take a look at AI, because all the other competitors will do. And there's another movement. In the technology domain, for a lot of time we said that software is eating companies. What do I mean by that? Software is replacing companies. Just think about it. Amazon has replaced libraries. Uber has replaced taxi companies, and so on. Everywhere software intervened and changed things. Now something else is happening. AI is eating software. AI has started to improve software and to write software. So every developer has to concern himself or herself with AI, because it's no longer an option to ignore it. Right now we have features such as auto-completion for code, but soon we will have I saw some examples based on GPT-3. GPT-3 is a deep learning model that just by describing an application, it was able to generate the code. So just imagine, you will say, I want a button, I want to look, I don't know, to have an icon like this, and it will automatically generate the code. So as a programmer, you should look into artificial intelligence, definitely, to keep you current and to keep your job.
Yes. And this is a recommendation even for us as developers, because we're very concerned with the future of things. So we'll definitely have to learn about AI, as AI is eating software, as you said, Christian. And regarding this GPT-3, I would like to ask you, is this like only a concept, or is it a functional model already?
Well, GPT-3 is a great story. I would address another subject first. Have you heard about singularity?
Not really.
So singularity, it is supposed to be a time when computers will be smarter than humans. Now, the question is, will we get there? And the answer is yes, because we keep evolving AI. The only thing to determine is when we will reach singularity and what will happen then. Some people will say that in 20 years, some people, well, GPT-3 is showing that it will happen sooner rather than later. GPT-3 is developed by a company that OpenAI is called, that was sponsored initially by Elon Musk. It's a startup. And just to give you an idea of its complexity, it's probably the AI that gets as close as possible to the human brain. It managed to create articles that you cannot say are not written by humans. So it is that good.
Wow.
And well, it writes software. It allows you to talk to it from a personality perspective. So if you want to have a dialogue with Einstein, though Einstein is dead, you can talk with GPT-3 and GPT-3 will answer as if it will be Einstein. So it's an amazing piece of software, and I'm very curious what will happen next, because I'm sure that we live in interesting times. And speaking of everyone adjusting, now it's very easy. A few years ago, let's say 10 years ago, AI was only for specialists. Now it is no longer the case. So we have, just like we have self-service BI, now we have self-service AI. So you have all kinds of tools that allow you to use AI without having knowledge of the algorithms behind. So now it would be the perfect moment to start, because all the complexity that you had to know a few years before is no longer required.
And from how to ask this question, like from the areas that we have in AI in these times, which one are you more interested in? Because let's say the three basic areas we have, like AI as the complex part, but then we have machine learning, deep learning, computer vision. Which one are you more interested in?
Well, let me try to clear a bit these things. So AI, mimicking human behavior. Then we have machine learning. It's AI, but we try to make the software learn from experience. Okay, it's still a subset of AI. Then we have a subset of machine learning that we call deep learning. Why? Because it tries to mimic the human brain. So we have neural networks. Okay, a subset of deep learning. For the moment, I'm interested in what we call general AI more, and the applications of AI in business. I'm not so keen in neural networks, probably, but I use tools that there are already built. I will give you an example.
Yes.
Microsoft has cognitive services,
Oh, yeah.
some tools that you can use um, to get the text from a speech, to get the objects from an image, and so on. So machine learning models pre-built that you can already use. You don't have to do the work yourself. And you can use them for business scenarios such as analyze the sentiment from social media. Are the comments positive, or people are upset because your product is not that good,
Yeah.
and so on. So I'm not going, what is data science? Data science, I'm using scientific algorithms to solve a problem. I'm not going into data science. I'm staying into the business case use of artificial intelligence. So I'm
So
enhancing the analysis of the data to add value to companies. That's my option.
yes, that's why you say that you are like an entrepreneur, because you're always
Yeah,
looking on how to apply it
yeah.
to the companies, right? So far, the applications that I have noted here are like for predictions, especially the use of for business intelligence and the creation of predictions about the marketing and the sales. Also, you mentioned that when we go to Google, there's some artificial intelligence involved, and to evaluate the sentiment of the comments in a specific product and social media. Do you know of any other applications in which AI might be involved, like in the business world?
I would say everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Um, I would give you an example. If I
Yes.
have a support department, I can implement a chatbot.
Chatbot.
So instead of having to answer simple questions, what's the time when the store is open? That chatbot will answer for me. Or I tested the chatbot that Microsoft is offering just for test, a medical chatbot, and it managed to diagnose my back pain.
No.
Of course, it also recommended me to see a doctor, but
Yeah.
it was quite good. It was quite good. So you can use a chatbot for any business, um, just to sort a part of the work that otherwise your support department will have to do, and this way to keep your customers happy. Uh, Basically, choose any activity of your company and you'll find a usage for AI. Just think about it. AI is driving cars. Okay,
Yes.
and why should we care about it? Because AI is better than humans at driving cars. There
Yeah.
would be people that will argue that it's not like that. But in case that we would accept to lose a part of our privacy, we we would implement a car sharing system, then we will reduce, I don't know, 10x, 100x factor the number of cars, and
Yeah.
uh, machines will decide. I will pick up Federico from here and uh, take him to work. Then I will pick up Edgar, and then and this way will minimize a lot the number of cars necessary. So they are already using artificial intelligence for trucks, and they don't get tired like people do. So find an area, and you will find an usage for AI. Does it mean that some people will lose their job? Yes, they will. They will, but we will find time for us, because I don't think that humans have to do have been born to work, just to work. So we may find things, creative things that we can do, other things.
Yeah.
But some people will definitely lose their jobs. That's something that will happen probably. However, AI can do things that we cannot do. We are going to Mars. Well, a robot can function without oxygen. You can see the value of a robot instead of a human. So
Yeah.
there are plenty of things. A drone can reach faster to an accident than humans can do.
Yeah.
So there are lots of scenarios. And not only that, but if you take a simple phone, we have assistants. Any phone has it. Android has a Google Assistant. There is a study that determined that assistants have reduced the feeling of isolation for older people. Just having an assistant, yeah. So there are lots of things that can be improved by using AI. You can look at AI as a tool. It is up to us how we use it. Of course, artificial intelligence is used for military purposes. So it's just like a hammer. You can use it for a nail, or you can kill someone with it. It's just a tool. However, this tool has the potential to become smarter than us. And we can anticipate this now, because if it happens, it will be too late. We keep imagining that we will be able to control it. But if it will become smarter than us, well, when they detonated, the scientists that detonated the first atomic bomb, some of them believed that the Earth atmosphere will burn, but they still pushed the button. So humans won't stop. They want to see what's the limit. And we increase the power of artificial intelligence. We have Internet of Things, all the devices that are connected to the internet. And someday we will awaken an intelligence smarter than us. And even Elon Musk said that we will give this intelligence a purpose to solve a problem. And if we stay in front of that intelligence, it may decide that it has to get rid of us.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
And it's not that hard.
That doesn't sound so positive.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like in Terminator. However, if we're taking measures now, we have all the chances to coexist with artificial intelligence.
Yes. So you have mentioned that in your personal opinion, AI is like a tool,
Yeah.
like a hammer you mentioned.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, because you mentioned that there are many things that can be improved, but on the other hand, many people will lose their jobs, and at some point, AI will become more smarter than us, and might decide that we are the problem. So, would you say that AI is it good for humanity? Yes or no?
Yes, it is definitely good for humanity. It can do faster a lot of things. I'm referring to medical usage. It can determine the cause of an illness, or it can determine solutions faster than us. However, it's up to us how we use it. So everything that we said AI cannot do has done. We said AI cannot beat the chess champion. Well, it did. It cannot beat the Go champion. Well, it did, and after that, the new version beat the older version of AlphaGo 100-0. So the computer cannot create music. Well, it does. So slowly but surely, AI is advancing, and recently it's no longer slowly. It's advancing faster and faster. What we do with it, it's totally up to us. We can build, and we already have drones that don't have pilots. We will use AI to kill ourselves or to do good. Well, it's up to us. It's up to us. And I think everyone should have something to say about this.
And for example, what is your opinion about that? Right now, some companies like SenseTime has developed, let's say, applications that are used to analyze the credit score in China. Do you think that this is a good usage of AI, or maybe it can be improved? Because I would say it can be a tricky topic when you don't have enough money.
I think that when the machine has a decision, the decision has to be transparent. You have to receive a reason, and always a human to have the final decision. So don't let the machine make the final decision. That's my own opinion, because the machine may be wrong. I would give you an example. There's a TEDx speech on the internet, and someone talks about why AI may be dangerous. And there's an algorithm that tries to determine if in the picture is a dog or a wolf. And sometimes the algorithm decided that a dog was actually a wolf, and the scientists tried to discover what made the algorithm decided that the dog was actually a wolf. And the algorithm saw in the picture some snow. So that's what made the algorithm decide that it's not a wolf, it's not a dog, it's a wolf. So it wasn't looking at the face, it was looking, is there any snow in the picture? Okay, then it's a wolf. So that can happen also when the algorithm decides, should I give this person a credit? And who knows if we are using neural networks, who knows what reason is behind the decision. So always a human should have the last word in these cases. Who knows in China what determined So last year, 6 million people couldn't take the train because an algorithm decided that they don't have enough social value.
Yeah. Christian, I heard about this social credit score before, and in 2018 I had the opportunity to travel to China, to a city called Tianjin, which is 1 hour away from Beijing. So over the weekend I decided to travel with the train to Beijing, and even in the train they tell you that you shouldn't go in the train without a ticket because this will affect your social credit score. And I was very surprised by this because I thought that it was all like only the news, but it's something real that AI is actually being applied for this kind of purposes.
This kind of scenario was present in a science fiction movie called Black Mirror, and it was quite a shock at that time. And now we see that it became a reality, unfortunately. And it's not only China. Machine learning has started to be applied to identify people that may be potential aggressors in crowds, and it is not so efficient. So you have some people, a crowd that may or may not be aggressive, but if you have certain elements, I don't know, a sweater or something, the algorithm may think that you have a gun or things like that. So they are not efficient yet. It's something that starts to be applied also in other areas, not only in China.
Yes.
So, little by little, unfortunately, AI will intervene in the help for the police, and definitely you can be sure that is used by military.
Yeah, yeah.
And um, I don't know if you recall, but there has been some cases when the American drones have been involved in friendly fire when the pilots were humans. Just imagine what they can do when the pilots are robots, machines.
Yeah, exactly. And now, Christian, I would like to switch a bit to the market and specifically to the situation of AI in the workplace, let's say. Here in the Czech Republic, we generally know that IT and software development are very well paid. What is the situation for AI? Are those jobs well paid as well?
Definitely, definitely. For some years, a subset of AI, data science, was probably one of the most sought positions. To be a data scientist, you need to have some mathematical background, also some IT background, and it would be good to have some statistical knowledge. So it is still one of the jobs that is highly paid, and there are not enough people that are prepared for it. So yes, it's highly paid. It requires a lot of years of training yourself to become a good data scientist, but it's worth it. You won't be unemployed, definitely, never. So I know a lot of people. I train a lot of people, and I know some of them that have taken this path, and they have a bright future. Just imagine, I want my company to do better. I need data scientist.
Yes.
A data scientist or more. So that's people are expecting companies to deliver better and better products, and you can find out how you can do that by analyzing your data, and you need data science with that.
Because in the beginning we spoke about cloud computing. How do you think that AI has been empowered by the usage of the cloud?
The cloud, I consider, has a great influence. Why? The cloud comes with the concept of pay as you go. So if I need a very powerful computer, I can use it just for 1 hour for a project.
Yes.
And pay for it. I don't have to buy it. So I can run any project, no matter how complex it is. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So the cloud offers me all the power I need just for the time I need it. And that allows me to do almost anything. Then I don't keep the equipment. After the project is finished, I stop paying.
And I have a follow-up question. Do you think that in the near future we will see more AI related to decentralized systems? Because let's say right now I can see some people or trends that are trying to move to a more decentralized environments, try to build, I don't know, decentralized social media, decentralized everything, like more uses of technologies like blockchain. I know that this is a different thing, what I mean about the decentralized environment, and not to have centralized like Azure, AWS, but more like using our own computers to empower other things.
Well, there is a trend similar to what you're describing. So I think for the last 8 years, the trend was cloud.
Yeah.
Recently, the trend is no longer cloud, is edge. What's edge? Edge means close to where the data is produced. Think that you buy a Tesla car and you need data. You cannot connect to the cloud. Why? Because you will have a data latency. You need a server as close to your car as possible, probably somewhere in your city.
Yeah.
That means edge. So the new tendency is moving to the edge. There are lots of products that are built for that, and I'm pretty sure that China is investing a lot on processors for edge devices. And when United States banned Chinese phones,
Oh yeah.
Chinese government offered an alternative to them. Invest in edge equipment, in edge devices, and you will get money from the Chinese government, and they did that. So right now, all the 5G technology means edge. So this is the trend. Devices that communicate together, and of course, AI has a place here because those devices can be also smart, intelligent devices.
Yes.
So there's indeed a new tendency to decentralize from the cloud to get closer to where the data is needed or produced.
That's an interesting thing. Let's say, what do you think has been the benefits of the COVID pandemic about the AI developments? At least for me, I believe that this empowered like the creation of the vaccines or other areas that before they were not so important.
There, there has been a breakthrough in using AI to recognize, to diagnose COVID-19 using imagery scans of your lungs. So they managed to diagnose you faster using AI. But the main benefit, I guess, is that most company realized that for people working in IT, working from home is an option. And a
Yes.
lot of companies have decided, okay, the COVID-19 will pass, but we will remain in this configuration. People will
Yeah.
still work from home. And I hope that the next thing that companies will realize is we should change the 8 hours schedule.
Schedule.
It is not good for IT. I would say that a good developer can do his job or her job in 4 hours. So 4 hours would give you the best productivity and creativity. Uh, this 8 hour schedule was set long ago at the for the factories is not something that you should implement for IT, I would say. And
Yeah.
if people would realize that and would try, something else happened during the pandemic. Um, some companies tried the 4 day work week. So instead of working 5 days, they tried 4 days, and it worked just fine. So I would say that IT, most of it is a creative area, and if you want people to be creative, you should give them some space to relax. I would say that the main benefit of pandemic was that of the pandemic was that the companies realized that if you let people leave people alone, they will work.
Yeah.
And some of the people that work from home even work harder from home than
True.
so hopefully companies will get wiser and will reduce the time, and everyone will be happy because we will have time for our life also. Companies will get results and everyone will be happy.
These are some very innovative and disruptive ideas that you had brought us here, like the four hour work schedule or the 4 day work week. I have heard about a book that's titled in such a way, and they say that it's like more productive for people, just as you say. And it is also what you mentioned about working even longer hours. It is actually my case because I can often see myself working even late in the evening where it's like past my 8 hours schedule. So this is something very common in that companies, I think that they are just now realizing it.
And there's a thing that was always realized by competitive athletes. There's a period when you train, there's a period when you relax, and there's a period when you compete.
Yes.
But you need that period of relaxation, of rest, You know, the muscle doesn't grow when you train, it grows when you relax. If you work all the time, you will be tired all the time. So there's something that people forget, that relaxation is very, very important.
And now, Christian, coming back to the topic of AI, I would like to ask you, what are the most common AI programming languages and what is your personal preference?
Probably the most familiar one is Python.
Yeah, definitely.
I, however, experience the introductions of a lot of features inside the SQL Server. And because I'm a SQL Server guy, SQL Server remains my favorite.
So you mentioned that you prefer SQL Server and some of the functionalities included in there. So can SQL Server be used for AI?
Yes, the reason behind introducing features for data analysis for machine learning inside SQL was usually you have data somewhere and you process it somewhere else. What if you will have everything in the same place? That was the main reason. So you have R features inside SQL. You have, so Microsoft tried to, okay, we already have the data here. Let's analyze it also here. And this is a concept that you will find also in the cloud. You will see that Microsoft has tools that allow you to do everything in one place, more or less.
That sounds very efficient, like to process the data in the same place that it is stored. But can you also like run AI algorithms in there?
Yes, you can run R scripts. Yes,
wow,
definitely. And in the cloud, I would say that a similar product is Azure Synapse Analytics, which allows you to do data warehousing if you want to, or you can also do machine learning if you need anything you need.
Now, I'm wondering, for example, I was a not tech savvy guy. For example, how would you advise me to get started in AI?
Very, very good question. If you decide to go with Microsoft, Microsoft has an entire site called Microsoft Learn that has free free tutorials. It will take you from zero. If you don't want to go through Microsoft, you want to have a general knowledge, I would definitely recommend you either Coursera or EDX. There are free courses that will tell you what AI is. After you get an idea of what AI is, then you can specialize yourself. But first, get a feel of what it is. And of course, try to use it. I would recommend everyone. Of course, I'm a Microsoft guy. Get an Azure subscription. It's free. You can get it for free, and play a bit with Azure Cognitive Services, for example. Make an application that recognizes what you're saying, and play with that. And maybe start from there. If you don't want to go with Microsoft, I already said every major player in the market, Google, Amazon, have their own learning tutorials, but usually Coursera and EDX are somewhat the objective tutorials that I would recommend. I would say technology agnostic.
Christian, our conversation today has been full of concepts, very technical and very informative. I would like to thank you for that. And now, as we in cyber prophets usually do, we try to prophesize what is going to happen in the future. So my first question for you about this will be, how do you think the demand of AI will be in the next 5 years? And if you will recommend any particular area to focus on?
Considering the rhythm that AI is adopted, most people say that we will reach singularity in 20 years. I would say that it would happen faster, probably 10 years. And what I don't know is what will happen then. Because I'm pretty sure that the computer won't tell us, look, I'm smarter than you. But it will happen.
Yeah.
Another thing, until then, what we can do until then? What I will suggest to everyone is keep an open mind and ask yourself, how can I use this? Not why is this bad, but rather how can this be used in a good manner for the better good. That's what I would recommend, because AI would give you a lot of power. How do you use it?
Yes.
It is up to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then I have another question, Christian, because something that I have seen in the market is the trend of using low-code platforms. I know that even Google has Google AutoML, and at the same time, I know that Microsoft has its own like kind of drag and drop to build machine learning models, or even I could say that in the future about deep learning. How do you think this is going to change the landscape or our view about ML and AI in the corporate world?
Well, what's AutoML? It's trying different machine learning algorithms and determining which one is more efficient. That's so both Microsoft and Google, and I'm pretty sure a lot of others are using drag and drop AI because that's the direction, offering AI to everyone. So which one should you choose? The one that you're more familiar with. If you are a Microsoft developer, go with Microsoft. If you're a Google developer, go with Google. Though there's no such a thing as a Google developer because probably you have behind other technologies. But use the one that, or even more, what your client needs, what your client asks you. So you can expect what Microsoft has, that the competitors will have something similar. However, and there's a however, there are some battles in the cloud, and I would say that Microsoft has started to win. And how you can judge if Microsoft is winning or not? Look at the map of data centers. And you will see that Microsoft has over 60 data centers all over the world. And when you see that the competition has 9 or 10, or then you'll see the difference. Why is it important? Because if I have an application and I want it to be faster, and I have a store in Czech Republic, then I will try to have a data center as close as possible to Czech Republic, not in US.
Yeah, I agree with your folks, Christian, and thank you very much for bringing us all your ideas, helping us that we should keep an open mind, that as software developers, it's time to reskill one more time, start thinking, because if not, we will be replaced sooner than we expect. I believe that all those folks that you are telling us are very important, that maybe we should even open our Azure account and start playing a little bit with the technology. This is a place that, as we constantly say, this is a place where we try to prophesize the future of technology. Maybe you have some final thoughts that you would like to give to the audience, Christian?
I would say that the IT guys are very special. We are paid quite good, don't you think?
Yeah.
So I think it's somehow our responsibility to offer good things back. So it's our responsibility to be aware of the latest technology, uh, to know as much as possible, to recommend the best solution. And I'm pretty sure that most of the IT guys are trying to do that. Um, we are fortunate. Uh, we, IT is probably the single domain that was favored by the pandemic.
Yes.
So we have all the reasons to give back, and studying and keeping us informed is our way to give value back to people that depend on us. That's what I would say. Thank you a lot for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Christian. And as always, the following week we will bring new topics, new ideas. And this has been our episode of Cyber Prophets. Thank you very much and see you the next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.